Hey Atlanta, Hudson Mason here. Is a new roof still on your to-do list, but you've been delayed due to rising home service costs? Well, here's a fantastic solution from Accent Roofing Service. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a full year. That's right, you can get your new roof now and start paying next year. Act quickly because Accent's incredible offer of 000 with a 12-month deferred payment option for a lifetime roof system isn't going to last long. Contact the craftsman at Accent Roofing Service today, accentroofingservice.com.
This is an Extra 106.3 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 106.3 FM or download the Extra 106.3 app. Extra 106.3 and a Second Chance Bail Bonds are here to back your blue. Back Your Blue highlights special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Join a Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Matalon and host Tug Coward to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. Now it's time to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
Welcome to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward, along with Daniel Matalon. He is the CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds. And our guest today is Sheriff Craig Owens. Has been in law enforcement for well over 30 years, has been dedicated to his community for that long, and then even served in the United States military before that. But Daniel, you have a great relationship with the sheriff. How long do y'all go back?
So I met Sheriff Owens prior to the last election, and connected with him, and quickly we kind of formed a very good working relationship. And he's my sheriff because I live in Cobb County, so that's important that I get that out in the beginning of this.
There may be a little bias.
So there might be a little bias.
Favoritism.
Just a little bit. Just
a little favoritism. I see
so, right.
Nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, you should have a good relationship. I mean, that's where like people get caught up, and y'all both jump in if you'd like. People get caught up with what's happening in Washington, D.C. when they should get caught up in what's happening in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I agree. Local politics and local action is most important. Sometimes, just like you stated, they get engulfed in things in D.C. That's really not going. It will affect them, but not as much as it will back here at home.
That's exactly right. I mean, school boards, county commission, your police department, sheriff's departments, just all these folks that actually make decisions that have a direct effect on you, Daniel, and they get caught up on CNN or Fox News or whatever. And look, I get it. You know, that's the big stories. It's what's going to be on TV and on websites and in newspapers and on the radio, for that matter. When truly, if you get granular and you get local, that's where you actually can make a difference. And in the case of Sheriff Owens, a positive difference in your community and in your neighborhood.
Yeah, and I'm extremely passionate about the local stuff for sure. I think, like Sheriff Owens said, I mean that's where you can really make a difference. And I think it's important that people pay more attention to the local stuff.
Let's talk about where you got started, Sheriff, and we appreciate your time so much. And as we say to everybody that comes in here, just the service, the heart of a servant that you have is always underappreciated, and probably people don't even realize all the work that you do. I mean, they know the sheriff part, but the human part, the real part, the caring about your community and being involved and taking the department in the direction of being even better servants to the community, that stuff easily is looked over.
Yeah, it is, and it's extremely difficult to get there. I like to tell everyone I've had a uniform on pretty much
your whole adult life, right?
I've been in some type of uniform, either military or a police department, and now even the sheriff's office. So to me, it's about being a public servant, giving back to those who I've been entrusted to take care of, which is my main priority. So taking care of the Cobb County community is my main priority. Doing everything we can to make that the safest and best community in the state of Georgia, if not the nation, is what we do in the sheriff's office.
Yeah, and it's so admirable. We'll go back and talk about the fact that you had a family tradition and joined the Army after you graduated high school.
Right.
I'm not obviously in law enforcement, but I went in the Navy, and it was because of the examples that both of my grandfathers were military, World War II guys, and I had so much respect for them and all the men and women that have served since and that serve today. Have just incredible respect for them and incredible respect for our law enforcement officers that do work that is imperative for a community to be safe and one that people want to live in, but oftentimes gets so overlooked, again, going back to the news, because it's easy for the news stories to go tailing out of control, and some of them don't even represent what actually happened on the ground.
They can paint a certain picture, but not the whole picture.
That's right.
And sometimes when we don't get the whole picture, we can jump to conclusions, and those all every time is not the correct conclusion.
Yeah, right. And most of the time, right? Because people are typically on the news, it's very emotional, right? The news is, let's be honest, it's a business, and their business is pulling emotion out of people. How do I keep eyeballs on what we're doing to satisfy our advertisers?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what it does to the community, the person, the corporation, the department, whomever. But after 4 years in the military, you joined the Cobb Police Department, transitioned from military service there in the reserves, and did a stint in the Army National Guard too.
I did. So real brief about my career. So after I got out of the active duty, I went with the PD, as you stated. I stayed there for 30-plus years, retired as a police major, division commander down in South Cobb County, and then, of course, ran for sheriff. But I can tell you, as you kind of alluded to earlier, I know you had a family history as well from the Navy. The Army is really what molded me into the person I am today. Yeah. That discipline that was instilled in me about taking care of not only yourself but the others that's with you and work for you is really got me on the platform how I hopefully became as successful as become to this point in the police department as well as the sheriff's office. So that military really grounded me and got me going in the right direction. Of course, I had a little extra push because my family was military, so that kind of pushed me in that right direction as well. But I probably had one of the best, lives I could ever have because I've always been a servant. And serving people is what it's about for me and keeping our community safe. So I did that with the police department, and we've been doing a phenomenal job, if I must say so, at the sheriff's office up to this point.
What are you doing to really show
that support?
Right. And it's easy, man. And I grew up in Dalton, Georgia, and everybody there, if you ask everybody there wouldn't be a single solitary soul that said, I don't support our men and women in uniform or our law enforcement officers. But then if you ask that follow-up question, then things get real quiet all of a sudden. What is it that you're doing? Are you going out? Are you helping in some way? Are you volunteering in some way? And the answer is usually no, but that's the beauty of America, right? You don't have to. You don't have to. It's folks like you that are willing to, and you carry the brunt of the responsibility. Right. And it's such an admirable thing to do. And in law enforcement, there's those moments, Sheriff, where, I guess it's about enforcing the law, but it becomes more, that's how you get there, I guess, but it becomes more about how do I give back to my community. That's the ultimate goal. And that's what I've seen out of every person that works in law enforcement here, that it started out with the training and of all the things that we're supposed to do and that we get paid to do. But the most important part is I serve my community. Right.
And to me, it has to be the most important part. That's how I get my gratification.
Yes, sir.
Helping people in a time of need. Running to danger versus running away from it, and and you see smiles on the family's face when you're able to help them out of their crisis, or you can do something to put a smile on children's face as well. By now, I'm a friend and not a foe.
That's right.
And they don't see police or sheriff deputies as that now. That's what we're trying to create in Cobb County. We want them to run to the sheriff's office and the police department, and not run away. So that's the type of mentality we're trying to create there in Cobb. Change that culture and let them know that we are here to help. And so it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, because you meet people, Sheriff, and the people that work for you, they meet people typically in their worst moments.
Correct.
And I can only imagine what those are like. Luckily, I've never had a house burned down, so I didn't have to call the fire department. I realize what they do, and I appreciate what they do, but I've never had that. Other than speeding, which I don't do anymore, I promise.
You slow down a little bit now,
exactly, right? Absolutely. So, but aside from that, I've never really interacted in any sort of way with law enforcement, except for the occasional time I did go through up in Alpharetta, at least near my house. They have these cameras.
Oh yeah.
And I cut through there about 6 or 7 miles an hour too fast, and I got this little letter in the mail, and I was like, "Oh, what they mailing me about? They're probably doing a fundraiser or something." Yes, they were.
Donate to this cause, right?
That's exactly right. But when it happened, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I probably should slow down." Right. It's a school zone. So there was no animosity there, but it's things like that, Daniel, that most people, I would say the majority of people, that's the way they interact with law enforcement, and yet, if you look at the news at night, then it's something totally different.
It is. It paints a whole different picture, like you spoke about earlier.
Absolutely, and I think that's so important, especially with you, Sheriff, and the folks that work for you when you're meeting people in their worst moment. how do you treat them and how do you help them that turns that, at least the crisis in the moment, back to some sort of normalcy.
Right.
And how do you do it in the most
and
constructive way?
that's the hardest thing for us, to be honest
imagine.
with you,
Yeah.
trying to turn a crisis situation back into reality and something normal. They still need
Yes,
and
sir.
deserve to be treated
That's right.
appropriately. And I think as we instilled in our deputies, that's how we started to change our culture and to make that happen. So now we're bridging that gap between the law enforcement community and making them have that trust factor with us as well. But not only with them, we started with our children. I think we really focus on our middle school kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get a good bonding relationship with them at this age, it really, goes over to their family as well. We had lunch today with a sheriff deputy.
Nice.
He was cool. Mom, let me tell you what he or she did.
Yeah.
And so, really? Well, I want to thank that deputy for spending time with my child.
Yeah.
So things like that is helping us change that whole culture that we had in Cobb County and into a positive factor.
No, I love that. And that's where you come in. I know a lot of times, Daniel, as you're working with like Cobb County or Gwinnett or Fulton or whomever, you work with so many municipalities, and it's all about doing that and giving the ability, whether it's through donations or participation in events that you're a part of with these guys. It's all about creating that relationship.
Yeah, and I agree with Sheriff. The middle school, like you and I have talked about on this show before,
Sure.
about my struggles in middle school being such a pivotal time for kids, is awesome, and I obviously support that 100%.
And from Daniel's perspective, and they do a phenomenal job in the Cobb community. I can't speak what they do in Fulton and other places. As he said, I'm his sheriff, so he does look out for us.
That's right. And rightfully so.
And rightfully so. And he's able to help us with like back-to-school events, special events for schools where schools may be in need and they don't have the funding for it. His company is able to help us help them to achieve some goals in that aspect. And what's better than having a kid go back to school with a book bag, proper school supplies. Not only that, what we did differently in Cobb this year with some help of Daniel and some other individuals was to provide our teachers teacher pack to go back to school with teacher supplies. Everybody want to give out book bags, which is great, but we weren't doing it. We didn't feel we were doing enough for our teachers. So Dane rolled up their arms, got dirty, and found a way to help us with our Sheriff Foundation, his foundation, to get enough supplies for like 500 teachers to start school back. Pencils, papers, and etc. It was a phenomenal event for us to do that, and with his help.
Well, when we continue, let's talk about some of the things that you've done in the past, some of the jobs that you had before you got into the point of sheriff, and then let's talk about some of those events that y'all do with Daniel and throughout Cobb County, and just the incredible work you do. We're speaking with Sheriff Craig Owens on Back Your Blue here on Extra 106.3. We will be right back.
Hey Atlanta, Hudson Mason here. Is a new roof still on your to-do list, but you've been delayed due to rising home service costs? Well, here's a fantastic solution from Accent Roofing Service. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a full year. That's right, you can get your new roof now and start paying next year. Act quickly because Accent's incredible offer of 000 with a 12-month deferred payment option for a lifetime roof system isn't going to last long. Contact the craftsman at Accent Roofing Service today, accentroofingservice.com.
Calling all aspiring tradespeople. Ready to master a new skill to boost your career? Introducing the Blue Collar Virtual Trade School. Learn from industry experts from the comfort of your own home. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, or electrical work, we've got you covered. Gain hands-on expertise through immersive virtual simulations and connect with instructors who have been in the field. Elevate your career potential. The Blue Collar Virtual Trade School, where future begins with a click. Visit thebluecollarvirtualtradeschool.com or call 678-916-6145.
This is Back Your Blue, presented by A Second Chance Bail Bonds, live on Extra 106.3 FM and streaming for free anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Welcome back to Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward, along with Daniel Madelon. He is the CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds. Our guest today, Sheriff Craig Owens, a law enforcement professional, more than 30 years of service here in his local community, not only in the Sheriff's Department, but also in the Cobb PD and the United States military and the Army. Some of the things that you've done, which they read like a book that, that you would see, somebody talking about doing a review on TV or incredible work experience, that you just see on TV. It doesn't even seem like something that real people do. You know, it's something made for the silver screen. But you were a uniformed patrol officer, a criminal investigation lead. You were a special operator, the adjunct to the chief of police. You did SWAT. You did Ranger Services, the director of Animal Services, which I have a heart for animals. So let me tell you, that, like, of all the cool stuff, that one's probably the best, man. I see those dogs get adopted.
People ask me all the time, that was probably one of the most rewarding jobs I had when I was in the police department, because now I really got a chance to interact with the community on a first-hand basis. And I can tell you, Cobb residents love their animals. So you can imagine the amount of folks come through our facility calling, talking about their pets. What can we do to keep them safe? What can we do to cut the population down, et cetera? So it was very rewarding, but it really opened my mind up to different perspectives on how we should be taking care of our pets, and what should we be doing at Animal Services to provide the best service for the county. So it was a great few years over there. I learned a lot. Learn a lot more about dogs. I never knew a dog can do this, or a cat can do that, or a horse can do that.
Right.
And so it really opened my eyes. And real quickly, real quick story.
Yeah.
When I was over there, we had a cattle truck that overturned on 75.
Oh,
and
that sounds like a disaster.
And we had cows run across the interstate.
No.
And we were trying to find cows off the interstate, for people from hitting them, running down the neighborhoods. So that was an event.
I can only imagine.
Again, working over there was just a great joy. It was a different for me because I was strictly a police officer. So getting stuck in an environment that's really not doing a whole lot of policing, unless we're investigating animal cruelty, it was just a different task, but it was probably one of the best jobs I had.
I can only imagine, because I'm a pet person, man. We got a little chocolate schnauzer, and man, his name is Cash, and he's the coolest dog, and he's so smart. You know, we just love his dog. If something happened to that dog, my wife would divorce me.
Yeah.
I mean, she loves the only thing she don't do, which I bet you've seen before when you were in that department, when you're working with the director of Animal Services, is some people like to dress their dog up and take them to Home Depot, which I've never understood, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the dog
they dress them, take them to work, too.
Yes.
So, yes.
I'm telling you, Dan, have you ever seen that? Or people, I mean, they'll have their dog in like a full three-piece suit.
Yeah. Little bow tie on.
Yeah, bow tie, and they'll have some socks on. Dog don't want to wear socks.
No socks. The rain boots or the socks.
That's right. Those poor dogs don't want to do that. No. And I always just, I can't help but chuckle when I see them at Home Depot. And, you know, it's usually a lady. She'll be, walking the dog around. The dog's doing that high step thing because it's weird on his feet. And she's over there looking for some lumber or something,
Yep, with the dog. Yeah, you're right. I've seen that too. So, yes.
Of all the things,
right?
But I don't think anything will top cows on I-75.
Oh, it was something. It was an event. Made national news actually. Cows run on the interstate.
So, like in that instant, who do you call? I mean, you're the
guy
they
call. That's a good question. So, we're really not equipped to rustle in cows.
Yeah, I mean, do you call like a farmer?
We call in a company that's up in North Georgia a big cow farm who sent basically rustlers down to rustle up the cows. They had special equipment that, make tight whips and things to let the cows come back. And they got here within 45 minutes to an hour and went to work and helped us round up all those cows.
Man, that reminds me of that time. Y'all remember when Ringling Brothers was in town that time and it was like a zebra got loose on 75?
Oh, yeah,
y'all remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, it was all the same way. It was all over the news. And they showed the zebra running down, like the 75, 85.
Yeah.
You're like, this can't be real.
Think you watched a movie or something, right?
That's exactly right.
And I can tell you from working for the Animal Services, that is the only group of individuals that I ever seen really shut the county email down. When they go against something you're doing or don't like it or do like it, there are so many people who love their animals.
Lovers, yeah.
They shut the email down.
So
that's how passionate people are about animals. So that's a great place to work and learn about the whole total aspects of the county as well.
Of the other jobs you have, because that one obviously had so many benefits, and just like you said, working and interacting with the public community, earning trust, gaining trust. What about the other, the adjunct to the chief of police or Ranger Services or the SWAT team? I mean, SWAT, that sounds like something, that you watch on TV at night.
SWAT is a great job. I've been very fortunate to have some great jobs since I've been at the county and the military. So when you operate over in special operations in the SWAT team, it's just that camaraderie about the guys and girls that you work with over there, how the closeness you are. Because they know that they have to have your back and you got to have theirs. in these deadly situations, and you have no one to depend on other than the other person beside you. So you're making life decisions
split
instant
second
like that. And so you got to have someone you can trust to make those decisions with you. You're going to do the right thing. So those jobs are always great because it really builds that bond in between yourself and the whole unit, and you become a team. That's how you really do become a team or a unit, and then become the term they say operator, because you are now operating with that unit. And that's, I mean, all my jobs have been great. I would say my SWAT was a very enjoyable time, but we put a lot of time in SWAT.
Was it scary? Because it seems like there could be those moments where
not really. You can't.
Okay.
You can't.
You just don't think like that.
You don't think that way. No.
Yeah.
You think you got a job to your mission. It's
You've
your
been
mission,
trained.
your men, and then me last. So completing that mission is your primary thing. So you can't really put fear into that. We know any time we put this uniform on, we can be shot and killed.
That's right.
And we are actually 99.9% of the time running into danger versus running away. So we always know that danger is there. SWAT is just elevated. It's elevated because we know that we're going into a dangerous situation. And we're just hoping that our training that we've been done up to that point will get us through that without getting hurt. And so that's why SWAT trains all the time and are ready for those events. So I think our training was phenomenal at the PD when I was there. And also I had military training as well, which made it a lot easier for me, some of those things. And it just went very well. I think my military job that was hardest and interesting is really when I made it to the top level, which is a command sergeant major, as a 2-star level, which means I worked for a 2-star general. And we were in charge of Guantanamo Bay, overseeing the reserve soldiers that were stationed there, as well as part of the Middle East. We have part of Afghanistan, we had Kuwait, and we had Iraq, and a bit of Saudi Arabia. So I would just tell everybody when I still work in the police department, I get off on a Thursday. As soon as work off on Thursday, I'm on a plane Thursday night. I may be flying to Hawaii to go to Pacific Command for a meeting, be there that Friday, Saturday, and fly back Sunday, get back just in time Monday to go back to work.
Oh, my goodness.
And you were doing it every week. I was flying somewhere. They said, well, Sheriff, how do you become a million mile? I said, the military.
That's right, absolutely.
Because I was flying all over the world
travel.
every weekend, from Guantanamo Bay to the Middle East to Pacific Command, and it was just a lot of travel to see us soldiers. And, man, that was so gratifying because troops love to see their bosses.
That's right.
So when and myself and the general shows up, they're excited. And they know, hey, the bosses are coming. Let's see what they got to say. What good news they bringing for us today.
For sure.
So it was always good to go out and visit our soldiers, tell them some new plans we might have about training, equipment, et cetera, to make their lives easy. If there were some pay things we can do to assist them, we get some additional incentives for them, we did that as well. So that was one of my most gratifying things. It's most gratifying and the most sorrowing because, unfortunately, in combat, we lose people.
Of course.
So we had to be able to deal with that, with losses of soldiers and warriors, and have they come back and talk to their families about what happened. And that was the downside of that. But that was our responsibility as the 2 top people. We had to make those calls and make those personal home visits. So, but it really was gratifying. So when I left out the military, you miss that camaraderie of being with those folks every day. Of
course.
And so the police department kind of filled that role for me because we had the same type camaraderie as well. So I think that's why I kind of got back in that profession when I got out of the military, because I needed that, that camaraderie, that togetherness, and keep working in the community as well.
I'm telling you, I'm so impressed by it because I worked for a 2-star admiral when I was in the Navy, and let me tell you, there's nothing more impressive because he was the same, much like you, just so you looked up to him, you couldn't wait to hear what he had to say, and it was always, you just had this incredible amount of respect because that is a level that not everybody gets to.
Right.
And it takes effort.
You're right. It's less than 10% make it to the rank of command sergeant major, and at least to the division level. So it's not many people make it to that rank in the Armory as well. So it is something hard to get to.
Yeah, no doubt. And then on top of that, led a division of 14,000, 34 states, and a budget of $51 million.
Right.
Dude, that is, they wouldn't trust me with $51 million. Because y'all, if they give me $51 million, y'all be after me.
They're looking for you, right? Where'd he go, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that was great. We had soldiers all across the United States that we was responsible for. We was all MPs. And we also had CID, which is Criminal Investigative Division as well. And so that kept us busy. And we was also responsible for what they call Title VII protection. That's some of the Secretary of the Army, the Secretary of the Navy, and et cetera. That was a reserve component responsibility to protect those individuals. So they put them on orders to do that for a year or 2 at a time. They were there dignitary protection teams. So we had the responsibility of selecting people to be on those teams and monitor them to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do as well.
Yeah, I tell you, it's stuff like this that I'm always so blown away by, Daniel. But I mean, I talk on the radio. This man, the things that this man's done in comparison to, you ever want to feel like you ain't done nothing?
Right.
Sit here with the sheriff and then talk about, compare notes, and you're like, man, I feel like I've got so much that I need to do to benefit the community, to just at least walk in the same path. You know what I mean? To follow the path that you've laid out, and folks can look your way and hopefully take that as an example of what they should be doing.
Right. And then, as you said, that's what I ran on, and that's truly what I believe, because I think we have to always cultivate that community which I'm serving. And that goes back to my military ranking. I had the opportunity to work for some of the best generals ever. General Milley, who was a former chief of staff of the Army, as well as the Secretary of Defense, General Vincent Brooks. So I had some excellent mentors who were world known with their leadership capability, and was able to thrust that down to us and to me and several other people that, put us on the right track to being successful even after our military careers. So that really helped me mold me into the person I am today. And I transferred that into my sheriff's office once I was able to be the sheriff. We changed the whole culture, which is difficult when you're so used to having the same thing done for the last 30, 40 years with no changes. So it was a difficult change in the culture, but I knew I had to change the culture and the values of our agency for us to become, as I like to say, from being good to becoming great. So we had to work on changing the culture. And that meant for me, we changed how we look, we changed how we talk, we changed how we act, we changed how we drive our cars. We just changed everything to give us a new persona of what your sheriff's office is going to become. And so we did that, and it's been taking time. Like anything, change is not quick. And sometimes you have to slow yourself into that change versus doing it so quickly, which can scare your employees. So you got to slow yourself in those changes, bring it on kind of slowly, and then they adapt to it easier and make it an easier transition for you.
Where do you begin? I mean, when you let's say you make yourself some notes and you're like, here are the things that I see that we need to work on, or we need to improve, or we need to change altogether. What is it that you go, okay, here's where we start? Like, obviously training and experience and all that kicks in, but just narrowing it down to that one, even if it's just like you said, uniform. It's just, okay, this is the way we're going to look. The Atlanta Braves go on the field, they look a particular way, and they command this level of respect. Same way with the University of Georgia football team and the Falcons and the Hawks and whomever else. They have the uniform is there. And so is it something as simple as that, or do you start with something that's maybe a little above that's a harder task, but you think that will cause the rest of it to fall into place? Right. How do you make that decision?
Yeah, that's a good question. You got to prioritize how you're going to attack this. So I took the thing that I thought was the most deafening thing to our agency that I needed to attack first to correct that issue. And during that time, it was about our medical providers in our facility, and unfortunately having deaths. So I knew that was one of the number one things I had to correct and look into quickly. So we immediately came in, looked at our provider, made some changes to give us better service so we can provide that service to our inmates that come in, and making sure they be receiving the proper medical treatment they should. But during that same time, I also realized that mental health care is out of control, that we didn't have enough things in place to adequately treat people who have mental health care issues in our facility. So I had to give it a minute. I say, look, we got to do something. This ain't working, as you obviously know. Yeah. And if you can't fix it, you're going to be going out here next week.
That's right, exactly. That's right.
So, you got to come up with something. Let's put our heads together how we can fix our mental health care issues and the health care issues. So we got our heads together and came with a plan that we were going to start providing, being the only sheriff's office in the state of Georgia at that time, to have 24-hour mental health care service and have somebody on site that can help these individuals when they go into crisis. And then also we just increased our overall health care provider. We changed some of those out, got some different providers in, making sure that any citizen of Cobb County that comes to that jail is getting the best medical care that we can possibly provide. Those things were my two top priorities. And then I started looking at what else. Okay, well, let's change the image. Because, okay, people say you can put lipstick on a pig and still going to be a pig. Let's just change the whole pig.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get a dog in here.
Let's get something.
People like dogs better anyway.
Let's change it out.
That's right.
So we changed the image of our agency.
Sure.
That means we changed our uniforms, we changed the cars we drove, and then that started changing. Okay, well, that's not the same old sheriff's office we used to see. They're different. They got new cars. They got new uniforms. They're acting different. We want to bring that professional level into our agency that I felt wasn't there. And of course, come from a military guy, it's all about me. It's about good order and discipline.
Absolutely. It has to be.
Without good order and discipline, your agency or office will not succeed. So I had to reinstill that back into how I kind of learned in the military. And that's how to slowly get them into that process. But by doing that, now we got professionalism coming back. And then so when we get professionalism, I had to have education. Because I want good trained, educated, a diverse workforce in Cobb County, because I truly believe that the sheriff's office and any other department, for that matter, should be a reflection of the community from which it serves. I shouldn't have all this and all of that. I should have a reflection.
Yeah, sure.
That way everybody can feel comfortable coming to us about any issue. So those kind of things I kind of put in order how I want to tackle them. I'll take this for 2 months. This will be the next 2 months after I get a good handle on that. And just peg what you want to do and put them in time frame. And just do things slowly and direct and then hold people accountable. I was not taking a no for an answer.
That is the key ingredients, accountability.
You got to hold them accountable, and you got to know this is my vision, and you need to internalize it. So
live up to it.
Do it, then we won't have no issues. And that has been going very well with us. That's how we started to really make that transition. As of today, and I'm not sure we're in the program, but we just received our Triple Crown rating.
Okay, well, tell me about that.
So
what is that?
Triple Crown rating, it is one of the hardest things to get as a sheriff's office. That's when your agency has been accredited in 3 different fields. So one of them is in basic law enforcement, that's called CLEAR. One is jail management, which is the jail association. And the last one is medical, and that's your medical association being accredited in that. It is extremely hard to get, meaning, in Georgia, there's 159 sheriff's office. You imagine that costs how many sheriff's offices you had?
Whew.
Thousands across the United States.
Sure.
Only about 100 sheriff's offices across the United States have achieved this ranking.
And Cobb County, one of them.
And Cobb County is one of them. And we're one of the 5 in the state of Georgia that has that. So it is a very tough thing to get, and we work very hard to get it. And what that does is it shows now that we are a professional agency. We are acting within national type rules and standards and policies. The sheriff is not making up his own rules. He's going by things that's been proven across the nation that should be done and doing those things effectively. So we've done that. But I'll take it a step further. Not only I stop there, as I told you, mental health was always an issue. I said, let's get a mental health care accreditation. We are the only agency in the state of Georgia to have a mental health care accreditation.
Wow.
Only one.
Now, does that apply for anyone that comes into custody or officers as well? Because I would imagine when you're in a very, very tough situation and maybe you have to do something that you've never done before, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And the ability to process that yourself.
Right.
So is that for both or is that for one?
It's primarily for our inmates and detainees.
Sure.
But we do have programs set for our employees as well. We just recently created a employee relaxation room because we know how stressful it is to work inside a facility for 12 hours a day on that concrete.
Of course.
And you're watching some of the most dangerous people out here. Excuse me. And so we created a relaxation room with massage chairs, soft music.
Well, hang on. How do I get an invite there?
Come on out.
Come on by there. I've not had a tough day, but I can pretend.
Right. So we do that to try to let them ease their mind, get up. They can come in today and see someone, unfortunately, trying to commit suicide. Sure. That is very stressing for that deputy to see it.
I can't imagine.
And then so, hey, let's get them off the floor. Hey, go into the relaxation room. Rest a little bit, clear your mind, relax. Have some soft music and water running, like have water stuff going on.
Absolutely.
Just to ease your mind and like I say,
just those natural elements.
And so to try to make them feel better. Not only that, and we took it a step further. We have a lot of females that work for us, and so we need to get some for them. So, and some of them do get pregnant, of course, and so we made them a lactation room. So we created that for our females, so they can go that and do that as well in the private and still do that and take care of the family. We got refrigerators and things so they can do that safely and things. So we try to create an environment to take care of our employees as well.
I would imagine, Sheriff, that would open the door to a lot of very qualified officers from other municipalities or from other parts of the country, or for people that are just graduating high school or college and be like, these guys do it right. If I'm going to serve, this is who I'd like to serve with.
That's a good point. We try to reach out in our community. We've gone into partnership with some of the high schools here where we're actually giving our high schoolers interns to come work in our agency. And we started about a month or so ago with one of the local high schools, and it's going well. And these are 17, 18 years who are finna graduate, where they legally can't work for us in some of our civilian capacities, and now they can determine if this is what they want to do going forward and get into a law enforcement field. So that's been going great, and that's giving back to the community as well, and showing how we're going to work with our youth to get them gainful employment and hopefully fill some of the vacancies in law enforcement, whether they stay with us or not, but at least we're giving them an avenue to get into that field, and they can venture out somewhere if they like to. But not only that, I think what's making our agency real competitive right now is our technology. We was voted one of the most up-and-coming sheriff's officers in the United States, and I think that's because of our technology, what we've been putting in place. I believe in working smarter and not harder, and I think we can do that through technology. We're the only agency in the state of Georgia now to have the two-way body cams, meaning if we have an inmate that's in distress and the medical provider's not there, through his body camera, we can have the medical provider talk to him back and forth right there where the deputies are and tell him what to say and listen to what's going on and correspond back and forth. So that's a great thing that we're doing to put more stuff out to be able to help our citizens and our deputies as well. And then we also, which would be a grain break, I'm going to release this on the pod.
Okay, here we go. You need a drum roll. Daniel, you got any drums with
you? A groundbreaking thing in corrections. We will be the first sheriff's office in the nation to use robotics in a facility, meaning we'll have a robot that will do rounds on our floors.
In the jail system?
In the jail.
Wow. And
that's for us to make ourselves more efficient.
Sure.
And to be more protective of our detainees. Meaning these robots will be able to check for signs of life. They'll be able to check heart rate, oxygen levels, blood pressure, all of these as they're making these around, because they have so many cameras, so much equipment, which is phenomenal. And those things, and throughout the metro and across the United States, there are shortages of people in law enforcement. And this can help us supplement that by having less people on the floor, and with a robot versus having to have maybe a robot in one.
Wow.
And we're doing the rounds, we're doing everything.
First in the nation. Cobb County making us proud, Daniel Manalon.
We'll make it happen.
Doing incredible work. When we continue, let's talk about the things that y'all partner on at a Second Chance Bail Bonds and at the Cobb County Sheriff's Department. Because I know y'all work together on so many great events and help the community in so many ways. We're talking to Sheriff Craig Owens and Daniel Madelon of a Second Chance Bail Bonds. My name is Tug Cowart. This is Back Your Blue on Extra 106.3.
Hey Atlanta, Hudson Mason here. Is a new roof still on your to-do list, but you've been delayed due to rising home service costs? Well, here's a fantastic solution from Accent Roofing Service. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a full year. That's right. You can get your new roof now and start paying next year. Act quickly because Accent's incredible offer of 000 with a 12-month deferred payment option for a lifetime roof system isn't going to last long. Contact the craftsman at Accent Roofing Service today, accentroofingservice.com.
What are your plans for your business this year? Hey, it's Tug. Do you want to expand and grow? Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you got a new person to deal with? You have to start all over again? You don't have that with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they want to know you. Unlike big banks, they want to partner with you. The Frost family knows the patterns. They know the ebbs and flows. They know business. Get to know them at FirstLibertyGA.com. Building a building, buying a franchise, expanding. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. You do that at FirstLibertyGA.com. And by the way, if you're a young banker and want to work with a team that is faith-friendly and has a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to them today. First Liberty Building and Loan. FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
Extra 106.3 and a Second Chance Bail Bonds are here to back your blue. Now back to the show on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Welcome back to Back Your Blue. Our guest today, Sheriff Craig Owens of Cobb County. He's the sheriff of Cobb County and has done such a magnificent job. And we talked about the first in the nation having actual robots working inside the jail system, and that seems like something, again, it seems like science fiction. It seems like something that you hear Elon Musk is working on,
right?
Not the Cobb County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, we're trying to work smarter through technology, and we know there's a manpower crunch because everybody in the Atlanta area is, for lack of a better term, we're all fishing at the same pond trying to find people, and so we know it's difficult. But we're thinking that can be a groundbreaker in corrections. About having these robots on the floors assisting, and specifically when you even have dangerous people you got to deal with, versus risking that civilian, we can send a robot in, and he hopefully better maintain order with him when he goes in there. So that's just something we're working on with, and I think it's going to be a groundbreaking thing.
It's incredible.
It is.
It really is remarkable.
I think it is.
You hear about AI, you hear about all this stuff, and it seems so foreign, Daniel. And I know you work with technology too, and that's been a big part of your business at a Second Chance Bail Bonds, and probably working with Cobb County using that technology.
Yeah, some of the electronic monitoring devices and alcohol devices and GPS devices, but it's always evolving, right? So it's, you go to sleep one night and then wake up the next day and there's some new,
right.
something new they want you to look at.
Of course. Y'all do a bunch of great community outreach, and it goes back to developing a relationship, Sheriff, and y'all do a big back-to-school drive and a big Thanksgiving drive that Daniel and a Second Chance is part of. Do you care to elaborate on some of that? Because I'm sure people would like to either A, help out, or B, benefit from it.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's extremely important. Again, I say this while I'm here. Thanks to Daniel and A Second Chance for being a partner with us in that and helping our community. You would not believe how many people are actually in need. And we see that every year, and those numbers are increasing. And so for us to try to give back is something I think we should do. And Daniel and some other gentlemen are excellent supporters. So at Thanksgiving, we give out turkeys. We give out, well, not just turkey, we give out food boxes, complete food boxes that they help us secure and purchase. And we give those out to people in need in Cobb County. And if you see the faces, or people didn't have money to buy a Thanksgiving meal, and we're actually giving them a whole meal in a box, it just warms your heart. And without the help of Daniel and A Second Chance, we wouldn't be able to do that. But it's something giving back to the community, taking care of people in Cobb County that needs it. And I can tell you, a lot of folks come out there, all ain't from Cobb neither. They come from other places.
But
right. We don't put them, we don't turn them away.
Like you're checking IDs
we don't turn them away because it's the right thing to do. And we go from our Thanksgiving giveaway, then we do stuff at Christmas as well with Daniel. We give out food boxes again at Christmas. And I tell you something that I think is important that people need to know. Unfortunately, people in Cobb County across the states get evicted. And that's a terrible thing. And it's most of the time it's the sheriff's jobs or the marshal's job to perform those evictions. What we do in Cobb County, and through help some of our supporters like Daniel and our Sheriff's Foundation, when we get families, it's very heart-wrenching to evict a family.
I can't imagine.
We got kids, but you have to do that because that's what law says you have to do.
No, I understand.
So what we try to do is give them something when we get there. We try to get them a gift card for like $50 and get them a hotel stay for a night or two. And things like that is what A Second Chance does. Our Sheriff Foundation and other supporters help us purchase those cards so we can give those things to those families so they're just not out actually sitting on the street. And if they got a lot of furniture, and if they have a lot of kids and family, we even get them a storage unit. For at least we're going to do it for a couple of days, but at least a couple of days.
You do what you can.
Yes. So and then we give them a storage unit so they can have that to securely put their personal belongings away. Those things that Daniel and his company does, and the Sheriff Foundation does, and some other corporations help us out. And I think we're one of the few around the metro that does that, and that's really showing how much we care for our citizens in Cobb County.
Yeah, just giving people dignity, I think, is important, and meeting them where they are.
Right.
And is so imperative. And Daniel, I know that's near and dear to your heart too. Just giving people. I mean, your whole business is based on a second chance. So it's kind of like they go hand in hand. I mean, that's what the sheriff's trying to do for folks who are in a tough situation, and you being able to help out is giving people a second chance. And in effect.
Yeah, and all businesses, in my opinion, and I try to encourage this. Not all agree with me, but if you're making money, and you're running a business in a county, you should be serving the community. I mean, in some form or shape. Not everybody can do more than others, or some can do less. Whatever the case is, whatever your limitations are. But I think that's extremely important. And Cobb Cobb County Sheriff's Office has been great to me. They're a great group of people, and Sheriff Owens' leadership has been incredible. And just watching that evolve over the last 4 years has been awesome to be a part of. So.
I know. So back to school. I mean, every kid is always big smiles. I mean, I know about midway through the year they're tired of homework and all that, but on the first day of school, every kid's got a big smile on their face.
Right.
But there are those times where, kid feels left out. Kid feels, he didn't have the backpack that everybody else has, or he didn't have the just the utensils, the
right.
crayons, the pencils, the pen, whatever it is.
Right.
And I would imagine that the back to school drive is trying to fill that gap.
Yes, and not only that, we get them for the back to school, but we do keep an extra. So if one of the schools calls, hey, I got a new student, he don't have a backpack. Okay, how many you need? What school? We be there tomorrow. And those are things that Dana help us supply as well. Yeah. So we try to not only just for that initial kickoff of school, we do it throughout the year as well.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say is that has evolved. That's been really cool is being able to, like, on a Tuesday just randomly get a phone call. And it's like, hey, we're going to this school this morning. We're handing out supplies, or to a kid that is in need right then. So that's something that's different. I know that Cobb does, where it's really just a continuation throughout the year, which I love. And spur of the moment, I'm good with all that. So
yeah,
anything we can help.
And they're great with that.
It seems like you're headed down the right path, and your experience would set you up for incredible success, and you're already starting to see that. I can't believe that the time of the show has already gone by so quickly. We just want to thank you so much, Sheriff Owens, for being here. Is there a website in case people want to know more about Cobb County Sheriff's Office or any of the give back programs? What's the website that they can find out?
So they can go to www.cobbsheriff.org, and we have a sheriff's app also that's out, which is phenomenal. You can just look it up on the. It's on the web. It's on the App Store.
Great app.
Sheriff. I think it's .app, and everything's on there about us. It shows even people we have incarcerated. Everything you want to know. And if I can point out one thing, I think is important. We didn't get a chance to talk about. I think it's extremely important. Is fraud. We're starting to have a lot of issues with our elderly community being victims of fraud from these AI phone calls.
Sure.
Where they're telling them that they have a loved one locked up or you got a warrant. And it really put our senior community in just a state of flux. And now they're giving away thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to these frauds on these phone calls. And meet me at this location and give me $500 or your son won't go to jail. And those things are absolutely wrong. You will never see a sheriff's office call and say, meet me somewhere and give me $500 or call you to say you owe me money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If we need you, we're just coming to get you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it makes perfect sense.
But that is a huge problem that we're facing in our community. I just want to make sure we put that out.
I'm glad you did.
We tell them if they have any issues like that, please call the sheriff's office. Maybe do not give anybody any money. If you got anything, any concerns about somebody saying they got a warrant out for your arrest, trust me, we'll come get you if we got a warrant.
That's exactly right. No.
But I just want to make sure we get that out as well.
I'm glad you did. And people using AI voice, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to manipulate. I've seen story after story, and I tell my own mama, you got to be vigilant.
You owe nobody nothing.
That's right. You owe no one anything. We'll figure it out. Sheriff, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate
you for having me.
Absolutely. You're always welcome anytime. Daniel Madelon, thank you so much for sponsoring Back Your Blue here on Extra 106.3. Make it a great weekend.
This is an Extra 106.3 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 106.3 FM or download the Extra 106.3 app.
Hey Atlanta, Hudson Mason here. Is a new roof still on your to-do list, but you've been delayed due to rising home service costs? Well, here's a fantastic solution from Accent Roofing Service. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a full year. That's right, you can get your new roof now and start paying next year. Act quickly because Accent's incredible offer of 000 with a 12-month deferred payment option for a lifetime roof system isn't going to last long. Contact the craftsman at Accent Roofing Service today, accentroofingservice.com.
Is this the year you want to grow your business? Do you want to expand your team? Build a new office? Hey, it's Tug, and I want to tell you about First Liberty Building and Loan. Aren't you exhausted by going to lenders, building a relationship, and a week later, you're dealing with a new person? You won't have to with First Liberty Building and Loan. The Frost family has been helping businesses grow since the 90s, and they can help you too. They know the patterns, they know the ebbs and flows, and they know business. Now the Frost family wants to know you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Buying a building, building a building, buying a franchise, or expanding. Reach out and spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and if they're a fit for you. FirstLibertyGA.com. By the way, if you're a young banker and you want to work with a team that's faith-friendly with a culture of excellence, First Liberty might be a good match. Reach out to First Liberty Building and Loan at FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.